I have hosted my applications, which is being used by 1,000 people at least, right? So what do I do now? How do I connect to that? At least there should be a protocol that should allow me to connect to it, right? Suppose I have an application that I built using Python, but I need to implement the secure channel to it, to connect to it. Suppose I have an applications, let's say, in which I enter the IP address of or the host name FQDN of the server and press connect, right? So when you press on the connect, you can implement that. You can use the Paramiko packages and say or set that to connect using the SSH protocol, not Telnet. Telnet is not secure. But SSH has the public and the private key, which only accepts connection if that matches. If it don't match, it does not accept that connection. It just closes that connections. So there is another one, Cryptodome. So it is actually used to create all those connections between the two parties or the two cryptos in a very lower level. So that is a socket. How many of you know about the socket? Anyone? So it's a networking module, right, which can be used in case of the connection between the two parties or the two hosts or two servers or the client or the servers. So this is a very lower level of which will help you in the network communications. So the example is going to come in the next slide. Just hold on to that. So web scraping with Python. I already talked lots of things about web scraping, but still, okay. So you get lots of data, right? There are lots of free data that's available. There are lots of protected data as well that's available. But all those things that's available in the public internet can be used, isn't it? That's available in the public internet, right? If they have made it available intentionally to see, that means you're not doing anything. You're just using that data, right? What is available over there? But still, there are some policies and restrictions to that. But still, you cannot use that data for the negative purposes, but you can use that data for your own value. Let's say I am creating an applications to match all those prices of the products. Let's say before going for the shopping, I just put 10 products over there. I want to buy today. Then my application will go to the Woolworths and Kohl's website, find the prices. Then it's going to say me, okay, what should I go for the best less value? Because there will be lots of sales going on, right? So, and they have a different number of sales going on. So it can be built in that way. So that's just an example. You can fetch the data, you can compare the values, right? You can compare the values out of it, and you can generate the output from that. Because that's a publicly available data, but it's not free. It's an available data, but it's not free, bound by the policies. So you need to always take into considerations about the legal and ethical compliance. So it is everything written in their privacy policies. If you go to the Woolworths or Kohl's, you will be able to see all those privacy policy options at the bottom of the website, in most of the websites. So robots.txt. What actually is robots.txt? I know that you guys are not from the cybersecurity background, but what it basically has is, or some of us Then might be from the cybersecurity background online. What it basically has is all the informations or the directory informations of the website. If you are able to access the robots.txt, you can get all the informations, all the directories of the website or the applications in that. So if somebody intentionally or unintentionally left or leave the URL, right? Leave the URL for their admin panel. You can just, or some unintentional hackers can use it for their own benefits. Error handling. What is error handling? Anyone, guys? We know error handling. Yes. Yeah. So error handling could be, let's say, if there is inefficiencies in data, right? So the thing that you said, that's correct, right? But in this web scraping, error handling means, suppose if you are short of data, if you don't have much data into it, right? So you only want to check something, right? You only want to get certain limits of data, certain data for certain things only. So in case of that, you put that logic over there. If it has all those data, right? If it get all those data, that's okay. The application will run. But if it don't get all those data, right, the application will not run. So you can put that error handling process in that. But still, your application should run, right? If there is error, you can throw out the error, but you can still go on. Error can be logged somewhere, you can still go on forward. All right, guys, don't try this in any of the available online websites. That's my request, because I don't want to see someone caught up by the anti-police. Oh, right. So, but there is an options for you. You can still try it. You can still try it. So there is a basic example that you can make use of. I'm not going through it, right? I'm not going through it, but you can still use it. What it is actually doing is it's only getting the title of the website, right? Title of the website and the paragraphs in the website, which is inside the p tag, right? All those HTMLs has the tags. Do you know that? How many of you know basic HTML? Basic HTML. Any of us have any written or created your own websites yet? Yeah. So most of us know about the p tag, right? Right. We create a p tag and put the paragraph or the content inside it. It's the web browser's gonna think that it's a paragraph. Okay, so we can grab all those data inside the p tag, right? But you try that in this. You set up this first, right? You set this up first. It's a DVWA, damn vulnerable web applications. The name itself say it's a vulnerable web application which you can set up in your laptop. It's a very small web applications in which you can get to learn all those vulnerabilities very easily. So you can find lots of resources when you install in your web applications. It can be localhost colon 8000 or 8008, 8080, whatever the port you assign to it, and only you can try it in that. Don't try, don't try it going online. So network security with SCAPI. So we knew that SCAPI is a library which is being built to fetch the network packets, manipulate the network packets, right? Or change the network packets, or send the network packets, create and send as well. So let's say there is a vulnerable application, or you are working in some company, right? Your boss says, okay, this application needs to be tested because you are in the cybersecurity department. So, okay, this application needs to be tested. You can make use of SCAPI, right, to get all those network packets. Okay, suppose if I'm hitting this URL, where actually it is going. Suppose if I hit facebook.com, right, it hits some servers, but what's actually path route, right? So if there is a basic loophole in that, you can just sniff the packet. So let's say, let's talk about one of the protocols I think most of us had heard, TCP protocol. How many of you have are in class or with Charles? Computer networking? Computer networking? Anyone? Okay, so okay, I will just tell you, I will just explain it to you, even if it's not Charles. So let's say what it basically does is, in that protocol, right? Suppose it's gonna say, okay, I'm just connecting to you. Let's say you are the other end, or any one of you are the other end. I say, okay, I want to connect to you first, right? I send a request. Then you're gonna check if it is actually coming from the right thing, right? Then you send, okay, you are coming from here, okay, you are okay to connect. Then only I say at the end, I say, okay, you said you said to connect, I'm coming now. Let's do the handshake. That's the handshake process that's happening over there. In the back, we don't ever say it, but that's actually the process that's happening in the back. So after the connections, we start sending the data, right? Even in the friend circle, first you do the handshake, right? Then you start talking with your friends, right? Or to make new friends, suppose somebody introduced to your new friend, first of all, okay, I'm this. If there is a trust between you, you start sharing the information. So in that sharing of information, so there can be some vulnerable information as well. There can be some wrong information as well, right? In sharing of information, there can be some wrong information as well, or some attackers try to manipulate you and send some wrong information as well, maybe, right? So in that process, what a security tester does, make use of these libraries, and they fetch all those packets going on and forth, right? What is going on there? Okay, this guy sent something tricky. Okay, this is a vulnerable packet. Put it out. Then you can see all those process going on at the backend, and you can find what actually is happening over there. But you still need access to do that. Otherwise, it will not be possible without a proper access to it. And it will not be a legal process to do it. To check all those friends messages going on and forth. It is not a legal process, right? So similar to that, in a computation world as well, it is not legal to check the others applications messages going on and forth. So penetration testing. Any one of you knows about the frameworks that's available? Are you from cybersecurity? Okay, I think you are the only one. Any online students from cybersecurity? Yeah. So even if you are not from the cybersecurity background, that should be okay. It's a fairly simple information that I'm sharing, right? So I'm not going very deep into it. So how many of you know about the vulnerabilities? The word vulnerability itself. Vulnerabilities. What actually is that? That's a loose point, right? It's an open door, let's say. It's an open door. Suppose you have a secure house, right? You have so many secure house, locks, you have 10 doors to secure it, but at the end there is a window open, right? That's what we call vulnerabilities, right? So if the window is open, if you have even 10 doors, 10 gates, everyone can get into it from the window, right? Window is easy to break as well. And if someone says it is not secure, do you think they're going to break that 12 gates and come in, or they come through the window? Right? It's an easy, fairly easy process. So the vulnerabilities means leaving a loophole, or there is something dodgy in that applications. So there are lots of frameworks that uses Python as the background, in the background, to do that, to help you test all those vulnerabilities in the applications. Even, let's say, even if you work as a software engineer in the future, some of you might be a very good software engineer, right? But if you are not aware of all those vulnerabilities, web application vulnerabilities or desktop application vulnerabilities going on, do you think you can write the secure code? What's the difference between writing a secure code and writing a code? So, writing just a code means you are thinking that everything is secure, right? But you are not thinking from the security perspective. You think that everything is secure. Everything I write is okay. It's not. It might not be okay as well, right? So, suppose you have written something, you have used packages. Let's say you become a very good Python developer in the future. You wrote some packages, right? But while creating an application, big application, you obviously use some libraries available, right? So in case of that, what if you leave one of these packages, outdated packages, which already has the vulnerability, which already has the door open for the hackers to come in, right? So if you do that, what will happen? Are you writing your code securely, or are you writing just to fulfill all those needs of the application? So even the software engineer need to think about the writing the code securely, and also know about the vulnerabilities that exist, that might exist, or the hot vulnerabilities. If you go and search in Google for the uh, if you go and search in Google top vulnerabilities in the web applications, right? It will lead you to OWASP website. So it lists all those top vulnerabilities that's going on in the world, because it grabs all those data all around the world and show it to you. Okay, this is the hot vulnerabilities that's going on. If you are creating the application at this time, you need to make sure that you secure it from all these vulnerabilities, or even you test it to make it secure. So vulnerability is basically is an open door. There are lots of frameworks that you can use, like Burp Suite, Nmap, Metasploit framework, right? So you can make use of those, and it uses the Python's extensive libraries. All those libraries, let's not say all those, but most of those libraries are written in Python and C and C++. Even if you cannot write a library, that's okay. But if you can understand and make better use of it, then you will become a good programmer, or you'll become a good developer. And it is very flexible to use as well, because you can understand the Python syntax very easily compared to Java or compared to C#